Today. Today. As we start the show, this one mic. All right, today. As we start this show, this one mic. I don't even think you see my shirt. We got Uncle Drew in the house, and we'll talk about why we got Uncle Drew in the building here in a minute. I feel good because I feel like we got a full house. I had to find the four screen. I was like, how do I set this up? We got four in the house. We got my man Hammer back in the building. This is going to be a fun show. We got all kinds of energy going here. So, before I get into it, please go to realsportsguys.com or hit us up at Real Sports Guys on all platforms. We're trying to build content. We slowly getting it up there. Definitely try to check out the description. We'll have how you can reach these guys on Twitter and all their platforms. They got a lot to say, and hopefully you'll find that out as we spend time here today. But before I get into the heart of the show, let me bring my brothers in to the conversation. Let me stop here in the lower left box with the man. He's the Spartan. He's getting hyped because the Big Ten season's up. Everybody's talking about Ohio State. They're not talking about his alma mater. My man, Isaiah. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, look, don't sleep on my Spartans, man. Don't sleep. We getting some recruits too. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, I was just watching this kind of college preview show. They had Desmond on, and what's my guy who played at Georgia on there, and they didn't even talk about Sparty. I was like, maybe I didn't watch the show long enough. They talked about Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I'm like, we ain't talking about Sparty, so yeah, they sleeping on them. We'll find out what's going on, but we'll kind of watch that and track what's happening up there in East Lansing. And then we got my man, the youngin. He kind of just try to keep the engine rolling. He keeps poking us like, what we doing, man? Let's keep this thing going. He's excited because he's in the preseason. My man, Darnell Kirkland Jr. How you doing, Darnell?
Man, great as always. We got a game tomorrow, man.
Wow.
I almost can't sleep tonight. We got a game tomorrow. Get ready to kick this season off. But yeah, it's a great time.
Wow. You hope all that stuff they're working on, they remember it. They get up there, remember that assignment. If nothing else, hit somebody. Hit somebody and hit somebody. If you don't remember anything else, hit the person across you. Do something. Move something. You can get it done. If you forget your assignment, hit somebody. Don't just stand around looking. All right, and then my man, he's back in business. We're going to be getting together, covering the Badgers this season. Hopefully, if everything comes through. So we'll be spending some time on those Saturdays. And as part of the RSG stuff, my man Hammer, how you doing, man?
It's great to be back in Madison, man. Doing well. So, yeah.
All right, it's good, man. We're going to have fun, man. We trying to lock it up with our guys over at Wisconsin Athletics, trying to get our credentials right. We had to get the headshots up there. We had to do everything else, try to be official over there, because, we try to diversify the press box. That's our goal. It's our goal, diversified press box.
Yeah. No, I definitely do when I'm there. The times I was there, 3 times last year. So,
yeah. So, I got Hammer introduced, and now, he'll be there covering with me, and we'll be talking general college sports while we're up in the building. The Badgers, they're predicting is one of the top defenses in the country. They're talking about in terms of what they got going on. That was part of the conversation this afternoon. So it's going to be exciting. I spent a little time over at Camp Randall yesterday in their sports student athletic performance center. So it's a great place, and everybody's buzzing a little bit. I think they're going to have a new practice facility coming up. So we'll be keeping y'all posted. That'll be home base, but we'll be hitting everything else. All right. We like to start it off because, these guys, if y'all could just see what's happening, and like we got about 2 different groups going with in our when we got the text messages, and there's always something going on. So I know these cats are always got their finger on the pulse, not only just sports but politics and everything else going back and forth. So I always want to give them a little space to like talk about something that kind of got their attention since the last time we were on the air. Hammer, since this is your first time back in a while. What's been on your back page? What's been that thing that thing that you've been kind of tracking in sports that's been an interesting conversation that you want to bring in?
I'd say that comment is the Bronny and the LeBron situation because, I just think that, now they're connecting them to Memphis, right? And Payne Hardaway, because Payne Hardaway's son is in Cali. But I still think that LeBron's deal shows that, he's going to be a one and done. And I think the best way he can be a one and done is going the G League, a night route, not going the college route. It's too much risk in the college route. I think you do a smoother thing as far as being the G League, regardless of how he does, and then transfer that to the draft and be a late first round pick, whatever is going to happen. So yeah, it's interesting to see him connected to the college teams, but it's been an interesting recruiting scenario. You heard people saying, all right, he wasn't interested in college. Now you got all these colleges coming, Oregons in the world and things like that. So I just think it's I really think he's going to go not going to play college basketball. So
yeah, it just seemed like he was a little like yesterday, and now it's like as soon as I came up, I was like, you tracking it, he's getting close, and you're like, oh man, he's about to graduate. And it was interesting watching him make a case to come on to Ann Arbor, hang out with Uncle Juwan for a minute, and see what he could do. Like he has some options. He's an interesting person because he's like 6'3", and so I'm just like, man, I hope he has a growth spurt. At least 3 more inches. Just if you feel like there, but he's the young one. The younger one seemed like he like 6'6". So
yeah,
it's
6'6".
like, it's gonna be interesting to see where we go. When I saw the Oregon thing, I just kind of like, man, Darnell, if you don't think about our guy over there who did show up at the press conference, I bet he'll show up at press conferences today. If Bronny comes there, he's gonna be at every press conference talking about what's going on. But our coach over at Oregon, who missed his press conference out at the Mile Invitational because his team didn't perform. So I was like, no, don't go there. But he's got some people on the list. It would be interesting, the factor, like, he's come from a situation where it's crazy. He don't really, he doesn't have any concerns in life, meaning that he can go pro, basketball can work out, but I think overall his parents are not, even though I think that's a dream, he got a lot of options. The $1 billion, somebody got to be the face of the family business here over time, and so it's gonna be interesting to see how this young man plays his life. But that's something we might have to dig in as we get closer to seeing what's going on. But that's a great thing to think about. Isaiah, what kind of thing has been playing out with you, man? What you been thinking about? What kind of stuff in the sports world? I know you also interning, so you might have all kinds of things that are on your mind.
Oh man, I gotta just bring it back to the last weekend on Showtime. That Showtime fight between Sergey Lipinets and Omar Figueroa, man, that was a good fight. I liked watching that beatdown. And that's really what it was. Lipinets came in and retired Figueroa on 4 days' notice. It was crazy, like just to come in and purely dominate like that. But he really made him look so old and so slow. And shout out to Lipinets because, like, man, he's a respected fighter, and I can respect him. But that was supposed to be Adrian Broner's moment. Like, it's a little bit frustrating, and I really root for Broner in these situations, and I do hope he gets, his help with his mental issues. But oh my goodness, like Figueroa, he didn't look like he had anything left in the tank going into the ring. So it was just Lipinets picked him apart, and he made him look like a contender. So shout out to Lipinets, but I'll be more interested to see what happens next with Broner.
Yeah, and it's Lipinets has that look like every time in the corner he got that look like if he dies, he dies. Look, it's like this is a cat you don't really want to tussle with. He just every time I look at his eyes, he looks like he's looking through you through the camera, and he just came out with, "I'm just gonna beat. My only strategy is beating you down. Like that's it. I'm gonna walk. If you can take this pressure, you're gonna be all right." And I thought your boy was just gonna, like in the UFC, they take the gloves off and put him in the middle of the ring. I thought we was gonna try. I thought we was gonna. He should have done that. He should have said just take the gloves off and put him in the middle of the ring, kind of thing. That's always interesting when you watch some UFC fights and that happen. Speaking of UFC, I'll be talking about that one in a minute. Darnell, what's on the back page?
My back page was going on the heavyweight title picture over there in Europe. We had last week, the same day as the Showtime card, we had Usyk versus Joshua 2, part 2. Okay, Joshua he went back. He got trained by Robert Garcia. He did show some improvements. He did. Even though the fight ended up in a similar way than the first fight did, it was a close fight where Usyk pulled away at the end, just like the first fight. But I did see some encouraging things from AJ, especially in the body work that he showed, and that ninth round, man. If he had the gas tank to continue and build upon what he did in the ninth round, I think he could have came away with it. But the class showed, and Usyk showed why he is one of the top pound for pound fighters in the sport, and we look forward to him fighting Tyson Fury in the future. Fury did say that he is open to that fight, so that's something that definitely look forward to. And also looking back to that on that Lipinets fight, as soon as they said Lipinets was coming in for Broner, I knew what was going to happen. Lipinets was going to the beatdown was going to commence because just as Omar Figueroa doesn't have anything in the tank, Adrian Broner doesn't either. To be honest with you, that fight would have been. I don't think Adrian Broner would do the same thing Lipinets did. I think it would have been one of those. Remember back when Victor Ortiz and Devin Alexander fought, and it was just like whoever loses has to retire. And I think that would have been the type of fight that would have been. Because remember what Lipinets did to Lamont Peterson back in the not back in the day, a couple years ago when Lipinets retired Lamont Peterson. That was a sad fight to see. I mean, yeah, Lipinets is that kind of guy. He's real strong. He has a good chin, a lot of power. But if you're a guy that can really box, give him angles and stuff, you got him. And that's really where Jaron Ennis. I think he had the best performance against Lipinets, and because he was able to hit him with Ennis is a switch hitter, so it was a big problem. Go back and watch that fight. It's on YouTube. If you guys want to go ahead and watch that, but yeah, it was definitely a great performance.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to catch up on the boxing and watching it, and Darnell and I, talking about the AJ and where's he go next, and sometimes you're it's just sometimes there's somebody who's going to beat you. Like Norton gave Ali problems. Sometimes in your life you realize, okay, this is a guy. But if you look at the trajectory of the heavyweight division, some of these guys are going to be gone in 2 years. And AJ's young enough, but does he stay a little bit more with the camp to learn? I thought I saw some things I liked about him. If he would have just let his hands, I love when he went to the body. He just didn't commit, start to the body, go to the head. And so some people might be saying retire, but I'm telling you right now, Dana White's just winning. Dana White in the middle of the pandemic said, I got to save y'all. We was all like, wow, he going to come out here and do it. But UFC, I mean, it's just, the 278 was the event. Now, I'm going to start with the Costa Rockhold fight. Now, Luke Rockhold was like a former, champion going up against this guy, Paulo Costa, who will just knock you out. And I had never seen somebody. He put Luke had his hands on his knees like he was going to quit. And then he would stand up and yell something at this cat and kick him and like the heart this cat. So it was like he was cat and mousing, taking beatings. He at the end had the guy had Costas on the ground, Costas on the ground and was rubbing his blood in his face. It was just, but it was hard. Like I'm like this. So then I thought, okay, that's all we need to see. So then we have Usman and Edwards, and if y'all didn't get a chance to, this is the second time they're fighting. I get in about almost a 10-year period. Like it was at least 10 fight periods. It's a long time since they fought the first time. And early on, Edwards had him, couldn't do nothing with him, and then Usman was just dominating. And literally, we all was writing this obituary. Edwards is dumb. Like, how are you going to come up in here and not show any heart? And it had to be, 50-something seconds left? It was the kick heard around the world. I swear, I was looking at the screen. I thought I blinked, and he was on the ground, and I didn't understand why Usman was on the ground out. It was the most. I was like, this is what makes the UFC the UFC. I mean, this cat had decided he's going to build his career, stay in England, not be like some of his colleagues who have come over to and trained in gyms in the States. He was going to build it from where he was building, but he was like it was like hitting a buzzer beater. I mean, it was the most incredible knockout I've ever seen at a time when you need to pull something out. And the fate of the world. And this was Usman about to tie the record for the most straight kind of defenses or whatever it was, 16 or whatever. That would, to me, I could not. I watched that thing over and over. I hardly ever like on the DVR go back and do it in the most. I didn't wait for the highlights. I had to go back myself to make sure I saw what I saw. So it's Dana White winning. Dana White is winning. He winning big. Boxing got to get their act together. They winning. They winning over there in them UFC seats. They winning. It was a great night of boxing. So there's a lot happening in the world of sports. A lot we gonna pay attention to. Some of the stuff will come up and have as a feature of kind of our shows in the future. Thank y'all for sharing. But we gonna get on so the word on the street is KD is staying in Brooklyn. Now, last week, 2 weeks ago, was like there was an ultimatum. It was a whole bunch of else things going on in the street. But then they convened in L.A., general manager, the coach, the owner, KD, and they decide they're going to try and run it back. Hammer, I want to start with you. What does this mean, and what was your thought when you heard this announcement? Because we were here in Memphis.
Yeah, it shows me that the leverage now is going back to the owners. I appreciate Joe's side stopping this mess. All these players demanding trades and tearing upside down after signing big deals like Paul George and people like that. Again, I'm not gonna say honor your agreement because people break agreements all the time. I mean, it's what you've done for me lately, right? But the bottom line is that I give Joe's side credit. He stared down KD. And basically said, no, you're not going anywhere unless they're going to give me the mother load. And they didn't. They were giving them not enough, especially for somebody who's got 4 guaranteed years left, controllable for 4 years. You had to get a haul, and what they were offering was ridiculous. It was laughable. And so the bottom line is that I appreciate what he did, and we'll see. But again, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Steve Nash. If he gets off to a bad start, Sean Marks going to show no mercy and ask him, probably get Mark Jackson in there or something like that. But okay, he's going to stay there. Kyrie will be there. And Ben Simmons, hopefully his mind's right and he fits really well as far as a piece there. They've got some really good pieces on the team, and Joe Harris coming back. And I think again, Brooklyn's got a chance, but it's a lot of pressure. But I give Joe side credit. He was like, inmates ain't running the asylum anymore. I'm running the asylum. I'm the billionaire. So I'm boss. So that's what he basically did. And I respect that. So, yeah.
And I was saying, if he did that on some solid ground. Usually I would get petty with owners. But at this time, I mean, this with Kyrie and them there, with what he tried to do to meet the needs, I almost feel like a fleece of America. In a sense that that episode, I used to love that show where they used to, because it was like everything y'all asked this cat to do, he made it happen, and then y'all act like he didn't make it happen. So I feel like he was like, you know what? I built my career negotiating with the Chinese government and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not losing to UKD on this one. And I felt, and there's a time I felt like, okay, this is an owner that might be justified with saying I'm going to draw a line. Isaiah, do you feel like there was more happening behind the scenes? Because you don't just you don't just do a 180 and end up here. What do you feel like might have been happening behind the scenes to make something like this happen?
Yeah, I really question like what was really going on between KD and the rest of the team, and really I can question what it's gonna what this is gonna mean as far as chemistry, really, because we're not all gonna act like KD didn't request for a trade as soon as Kyrie, opted to stay there. Not gonna act like that didn't happen. So, well, what was really going on between them? I thought they were buds. I thought they were tight, but clearly, KD had his own, motivations and I guess whatever he wanted to do. But at the end of the day, the organization had to come together and really nip all that in the bud and just bring that all together. I think they're trying to bring their team together because what KD and Kyrie were doing was just, using the power that the players have in today's league. But I think in this situation, it was appropriate for the Nets to have the leverage in the situation just because of how much they've already done to build what they're building out there. What they did so much to get KD and Kyrie out there that it wouldn't make any sense to just trade them away, especially for the offers that they were getting. So, yeah, the fact that he asked for a trade in the first place makes me raise a question of what's really going on behind the scenes. I'm wondering about the relationship between him and Kyrie Irving, especially, I know some players were frustrated with Kyrie after his whole thing with the COVID vaccine and all that. But now that's out of the way, it's still just it's just a little bit of a confusing situation to say the least.
I want you to, Darnell, what do you think? I mean, you hear what Isaiah's saying about that. Like, these things just don't come together at the end. I know there's a lot of leverage out there, but like, it felt like they were a long ways from this kind of result a week ago.
Well, it's a long story short. KD is soft. KD tried to run like the far side. Run! KD turning away. Come on, man. Like, you notice the teams
Old school hip hop. All right, man. Go ahead.
The teams that he wanted to go to: Phoenix Suns, #1 seed in the West; Miami Heat, #1 seed in the East; or Boston, the team that went to the finals. Come on now, you know what's going on, and the trade the trade never happened because at the end of the day, the trades never made sense for either party, right? So if Kevin Durant wants to go to Phoenix, all right, so who does Phoenix have to give up to get you, right? And once they give up all the pieces that they need to get you, you're going to be in the same boat that you're in right now. You're going to be on a good team, but it's not going to be that much to where it's like an overpowering thing. So at the end of the day, the best scenario for him was to stay home. Just like I said, I think I said this a good 3 or 4 times on this show. The best thing for both teams was for KD and Kyrie to run it back in Brooklyn, and it all started with the Rudy Gobert trade. Once Rudy Gobert was traded for 6 first-round picks, 7 first-round picks, it inflated the market so much where you were never going to find a trade for Kevin Durant because the value was too high. So you being Sean Marks saying, okay, if Rudy Gobert sold for this much, then I'll have to get this for Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant is much better than Rudy Gobert. But at the end of the day, that's just not realistic for you to be able to get that kind of return. So at the end of the day, he was never going to. There was never going to be a team that was able to give up the amount of pieces to satisfy the trade, and at the same time field a respectable team that to have Kevin Durant to want to stay there long term.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm throwing in, and it might come out later, is the first one who tested them was Kyrie. Kyrie was putting a lot of pressure on at the trade deadline. Didn't work. Kyrie was like, okay, I'm coming back. Like, it wasn't even though Kyrie was like, I'm coming back. I'm be here. Thank y'all. I'll see y'all when the season starts. I think, and this is one thing I kind of put a little bit here on a rundown. We might find out Kyrie was a quiet broker in the background. Things like that's going out, Kyrie might have been softening KD up like, hey, man, let's just run it back. I'm going to be here. Let's see what could happen next year. Let's just run it back. Start softening it up. Probably call Steve Nash, hey, Steve, I'm coming back. Let's get the head together. I got to get right. I think Kyrie was in the background doing some softening up with this kind of stuff because he was going to be there, and if he going to be there, he hoped his boy was going to be there. But Kevin had made it, and it'd be interesting to see if he was like a quiet broker because Kyrie's getting cast in an interesting way, and there's a lot of reason to cast Kyrie. But if the relationship between them isn't fractured the way Isaiah might be alluding to, let's say, because part of this is Kevin's stuff escalated when they didn't give him the max deal. Kevin was like, "Oh, y'all clowning." But Kyrie didn't clown it. When Kyrie said, "I'm just coming back. We ain't gonna talk about this. I'll see y'all when the season starts." I wonder if he's playing a quiet broker role in the background. Is like, look, man, I'm gonna be here for 1 year. It don't work out, just come back 1 year. Let's just run it together. Just give it an opportunity for us to have a full run together. Then we see what we can revisit next summer, which may have softened it up for that. But I agree, Steve Nash is on the clock. Because the person in this is interesting. They co-signed on Steve Nash, but Steve Nash is also Marcus' boy. Like, they friends. They got a deep relationship. So I don't know how much he also sold on that. And it's going to be one of them wire moments. Every once in a while, sometimes you got to send your boy down that alley to the vacants. Or it's going to be you. If he don't get it right, he going to go to the vacant. I really like, if they start out slow, if this was DC, he gonna get walked over to Baltimore to them vacants. He gonna get to vacants like he got to start. They gotta start out. They gotta start like 15-5. They gotta look like they got their act together early. They have, you remember, was it the Heat when they kind of struggled early on? Remember they got all three of them together and then they kind of righted the ship. He can't have one of them slow starts. He got to start out like 15-5. If he can do 13-2, that's where he got to be. If he start out and he like 8-5, he 8. There's gonna be some early stuff happening there. I'm just gonna say this: like Marks is his boy, but Marks realized his boy almost got both of them on the chopping block. So some of this is got to have some accountability for Steve Nash here early on, because the other thing, and this is the thing that you said, Darnell. I don't know how KD keep getting away with this. Now you remember this. I argue this. Hammer been around long enough. When he went to Oklahoma City, so much got put on Russ, and I kept saying, man, KD had a lot to do with this downfall. If you watch some final games against Golden State, Donovan was trying to do what Phil Jackson was telling Mike. You got to trust who's open. And KD was in the fourth quarter just forcing. And they were winning when they were sharing the ball. He just watched some final two games. Then he walked away as if he didn't have nothing to do with it to the team that beat him. And Russ got all the blame. And it carried like this until this moment in Brooklyn. In this moment in Brooklyn, people started to put some heat on KD. But KD this summer acted like he wasn't involved in any decisions. Like he didn't have any responsibility in the locker room. Everybody else had a responsibility. And that part, like Darnell, you're talking about, is something that KD is going to have to figure out. Like, you can't ask for LeBron money and don't do the LeBron leadership part or that notoriety. You can't ask for that type of money. Like, that comes with, you have responsibility with the leadership in the locker room. Like, you just can't come ball. We're not giving you this kind of money just to show up and ball. This kind of money means that if just like Michael had to go get Dennis Rodman, you got to go get Kyrie, right? Phil Jackson said, go get Dennis. What did Mike do? Mike went and got Dennis. Mike pulled Dennis out the hotel and back to the game. Like, that's the responsibility when you have that. And Katie like, nah, dog, that's not me. Marks, you got to go get him. That's your boy. So that piece right there is going to have to be dealt with at some point. And KD never gets that part. Like, he's a great individual player. But to win championships, it takes that level of leadership. And that just can't come from the coach or the GM. That's got to come from someone like him holding everybody accountable. That piece is something that I'm not seeing happening here. So we'll see how it goes. But he's gonna be under the microscope a little bit on that side as well. Like, he is Like nobody raises that issue with KD like they should. And he finds a way to push back on that all the time. Like, that's not what I get paid. Like, I'm not paying you just to show up. I'm paying you to manage Kyrie, too. I'm paying you to manage the locker room as the leader. We expect quarterbacks to have a role in the locker room like that. We expect our leaders in basketball to do that. So that's something we're going to have to keep watching with this situation. But I got a feeling y'all going to find out. Watch, in 2 months, they start to unpack this thing and find out, Kyrie's behind the scenes having some conversations. I got a feeling he softened KD up a little bit. The guy would say, look, man, your situation, look, just come back and run it back. Because that's the only way I can see this thing turn around this fast on KD's side and him not just totally being salty. All right, we're going to move into the boot. So we're going to talk about who do you trust more. We got the Can't Trust It list made famous by my man, Marcus, the Game Changer. We, part of our March Madness conversation, we've used that and other things. But I'm saying we got to stop being negative post-pandemic. We got to highlight the positive. Who do we trust? We already talking about who we can't trust, and that list is long when it comes to football. But there got to be some folks we do trust. And so I got my panelists here. I got a couple scenarios I want to kind of go around and talk to them about and see who they trust. All right, in our first scenario, y'all ready? I feel like this is a game show. I was watching, what's that, Shazam with Jamie Foxx and his daughter. I feel like I got my game host vibe on right now. But I was looking forward to this. I don't know how it's going to work, but I trust my guys will carry this out. All right, in the first scenario, who do you trust? David Carr to lead his team to a divisional championship in AFC West, or Bill Belichick to get the offensive coordinating and play calling right to win the AFC East? Who do you trust, and what's your evidence for why you should trust them? I'm going to start with Darnell. Darnell's like, man, he was ready to hit the buzzer.
I was ready. I was ready for this one. I trust David Carr.
Whoa!
It's gonna be an unpopular answer, but at the end of the day, he has a lot more help. I mean, I have more faith in them to win the division than I do in Bill Belichick, simply because David Carr. I must say David Carr. I keep saying David. It's Derek Carr, right?
Yeah.
Derek
Carr. I don't know why I'm saying David Carr. I'm talking about his brother.
Yeah, Derek Carr. I don't have faith in David Carr. Derek Carr. I have faith in Derek Carr to win the division because he has a lot more help with him. He has Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers in the league, to throw the ball to. He also has Darren Waller, one of the better tight end receiving threats in the league to throw the ball to. Also, they got Hunter Renfrow, a great slot receiver. He's good at getting open, finding space. So that's Josh Jacobs running the ball. I mean, he has a lot of weapons to throw the ball to. And then on the defensive side, they've done a good job of building that pass rush there. They have Max Crosby, Eastern Michigan's own Max Crosby, and they paired him up with Chandler Jones, John Jones' brother. But he's almost as good at his job as John Jones is. That's saying something. Chandler Jones is one of the best pass rushers in the league. So that being said, Oakland's going to be. I said Oakland. The Vegas Raiders. I'm messing up this whole segment, but the Vegas Raiders are going to be forced to reckon with. So
I have to own that, brother, because I saw David on an NFL. He's on a show. I'm like, where have you been? And it got in my head, so I forgot about his brother there. You're right on. And what's interesting, if you look at the NFL top 100, what's voted by the players, look at how many Raiders are in the top 100. I was looking at a list. I was like, Raider, like a lot of players you're saying, like the peers talk about the quality of players in that top 100. So you said Derek, you believe in Derek Carr. You like the genius Bill Belichick has got to know some offense. All right, I'm gonna go to you, Hammer. You were shaking your head. Where are you going with this? Who are you going with? Derek Carr?
Definitely Belichick.
Or Bill
man.
Belichick.
Definitely Belichick, man. I mean,
how are you gonna go with Belichick? What tells you that Belichick know how to call plays? Okay, explain yourself.
I explain myself to the fact that again, when McDaniels was gone, O'Brien's gone, the offense was still humming, and they haven't had a defensive coordinator in a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years. Patricia's, I guess, going to call the plays. I read.
Do you trust Patricia? Like, what evidence?
No,
like, we got two cats from Detroit.
I trust Belichick.
What?
Belichick runs the whole show. He runs the draft room. He runs the training room, the coaching room. So
anybody can coach a quarterback now?
Yeah, he can coach quarterback. I believe he's a great football guy because, again, he's a Parcells disciple. And so that's the main thing about it. He learned from the best, and that's how he became the best. And so the bottom line is that, I don't trust David Carr. All that talent because
Derek Carr. That's my fault. Derek Carr. We'll trust David Carr. We'll trust the Carr family.
Because the fact is, I don't trust Josh McDaniels. Getting this,
but he was the one doing all this stuff in the Patriot land. Like, he's the one who laid the foundation.
It's different between being a head coach and being a OC. You know that, man. Totally different, man. And McDaniel's an OC. I just don't see that hire really puzzled me. They could have done some really good hires, but that hire really puzzled me, man. As far as Josh McDaniels goes with Derek Carr. And yeah, everyone's going to talk about him and Devontae being boys at Florida State Fresno State, and Waller. And yeah, they got great talent. One thing I'm surprised about them releasing Kenyon Drake. That surprised me. That really stunned me as far as it goes, because I think he really fits that offense well, and I'm surprised at that. Either he's really hurt badly, but I don't see that anymore. And they're eating $4 million, so they clearly want to get rid of him. So I just don't trust. I don't trust the Raiders. I trust.
The Raiders have backs on backs. Though they could have got. They're safe. They just drafted Zamir White from Georgia.
Yeah, they drafted Zamir White. I know that, but I still think Drake. Drake would have done excellent value for him as a third down back around the backfield. I mean, you need more backs. Look at Ball.
He probably couldn't beat up Abdullah.
Yeah, Abdullah beat him out. I think again he's hurt supposedly, but to eat $4 million, I think he's a good talent, and I just think that he fits the offense very well. Kind of, I saw James White. I was looking at TV this morning. I was just about to tell you. I'm like James White on TV now. So so bottom line is that he could be a James White. So I just think that third down back, and Zamir White could be that one, definitely. I mean, he's got the talent to be, but Kenyon Drake has done it. And so that's the thing about it, is that you talk about Zamir because you love your prospects and your suspects and your 4 stars that turn out to be no stars. But I like players who bring it. Like I said, I don't know if I want prospects. I want who can do it. I want superstars. So we'll see. But I like Belichick.
All right. I'm gonna bring Isaiah in here. Where you gonna land, brother? We got over here. I feel like this is 8 Mile. We got B Rabbit. We got we over here. We might have to have you settle this thing down. We got Derek Carr. We'll get it right. I messed it up because I watched his brother on the show, and then as I was typing the rundown, I got the Carr family throwing me off. But Carr leads his team to the divisional championship in a difficult AFC West. Right, so we got layers to that, and you got Bill Belichick, who thinks, it's like everybody can do this. Like we got Matt Patricia on him, but he's the genius in the AFC East. Who you got?
The genius, huh? Genius. Man, I'm gonna get on that in a second, but I will say that it is gonna be hard for the Raiders to win their division just because the Chiefs are there, but I trust the Raiders winning over the Patriots winning their division. I would see the Bills winning the AFC East. The AFC East. Simply for the fact that Derek Carr, I think he is going to make and take the next step this season, especially with the addition of Devontae Adams, for really trading him for a couple of draft picks. I mean, they really fleeced that trade. They really open up the power of their offense. I think it's just going to make Derek Carr even better. And when looking at it from the other side, I don't think that Bill Belichick is the genius that people really say that he is. Who's been running stuff this whole time, his whole reign. He's kind of like Phil Jackson, where you get all the best players, and I guess the coach, he gets all the credit for coaching those players. But
all the best players,
we all know about all the best players. Well, I'll say Tom Brady.
You from Michigan? All the best players.
For
Yeah,
years.
Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Come on now.
Just
Those
just
two
being
great
Scottie
players,
Pippen.
man. The
he's
role
in
players
the
So
made
Dennis
in
those
Michael
Rodman.
teams
Jackson
So
great.
Dennis
trade.
Rodman.
If you look at his
Yeah,
record without Tom
Ron
Brady, he's
Harper.
actually underneath 500.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just the truth of it. So I don't think he's going to be able to do it without Tom Brady. That's just the way it is.
It's funny because there was a similar argument about there was this discussion about Rodgers on First Take today and Brady, and Mad Dog was talking about his reign, all the statistics about Rodgers, his reign in one of the worst divisions, and I was like, what do you mean? Like the NFC East over that run, it was one of the worst run divisions. It like we don't factor in the Jets have been terribly run for 25 years. Miami's been struggling for 25 years. The Bills were struggling for a long time until recently. Like, not only they had some poorly run like divisions and going back to maybe when you had Bart and those guys running over in the Jets and for a short period of time, but that they had no real challengers from just
Yeah, but
a
that's 6 games
competition
out
standpoint,
of 10, though,
right?
Devon. 6-10.
And this is
That's six
why
games out of 10.
that's important. This is why that's important. If you look at Belichick's philosophy, one of the things he talks about is the way in which they run the season and how they want to be humming late in the year in November. You know why he can do that? Because he ain't really concerned about losing any divisional games. Like none. Like what was their record in the division over like that period? Probably amazing.
It
Like
was
other
amazing.
than like losing to Miami in Miami like every year. But what was like how many years that they like beat the Jets in a row over like for 5 straight years? Or how many times they beat but like there were times where they had organizations that were decimated. And so he could really plan, right? He wasn't worried about no competition in the division. And that's never really played out. You saw when there's starting to be some competition, it gets a little bit different, right? And so, but I'm surprised at this. Like anybody can coach offense thing. I got an offensive line coach over here. I know people switch to positions, but I don't even see. Do they even have a quarterback coach? They got like a second year player. Do they even have a quarterback coach on the right? I don't know. I never hear about the quarterback coach.
I think they do, but yeah. So
Like I
kind of
like who is coaching the most important position you got on the team with a second year player? Like is that Matt Patricia?
Belichick.
Is that
Belichick.
Matt Patricia? But now Belichick coaching quarterbacks?
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that's scenario one. We're gonna go. The next one. Who do you trust more? All right, Mike Tomlin to extend his streak of winning seasons, or Arizona to make a run to the playoffs. Now that my man Murray got paid and is committed to study hall. Who do you
They took
trust more?
that clause out. So
I know, but we know it's still there. They just kind of put it to the background. They know what they were talking about. All right, Isaiah, I'll come back to you. Start with you first. Who do you trust?
I'm gonna go with my man Mike Tomlin. I think that I think the Steelers are always going to be in a good position to be able to do well. I think he'll, all they gotta do is be over 500, and I think they can easily do that. I believe they just signed a quarterback over the offseason, and they drafted a quarterback, so they're trying to fill some shoes there. But I think that they're still going to be a solid team in their division, and also if you look at it from the other way, obviously the Cardinals they signed Kyler Murray. They got some other guys, Sammy Watkins. I believe they're gonna miss out on Hopkins for a few games due to suspension
yeah,
for the next season.
yeah. But you talking
Yeah,
about
so
Marquise Brown, not
They got Marquise Brown running
Marquise
defense.
Brown, not
sorry.
Sammy. Sammy's with Green Bay. But go ahead.
Yeah. My fault.
Clearly an upgrade though. It's an upgrade though.
Yeah.
Brown.
They did get some new receivers and all that, but I'm saying that I don't know if they'll be able to compete with the top the top teams of the conference. You still got the Cowboys, you still got the Rams, still got Green Bay, still got the Buccaneers. So in terms of making a run, I don't think so. I think they'll be right about where they were at last year.
Now you got to say with the new format, like all three of those teams can make the playoffs. Like everybody but let's say Seattle can make the playoffs, right? I did theoretically, right?
Yeah, they
So
can make the playoffs. I
they,
just don't think they'll go far. I don't think they'll make a run.
you don't think they'll make a run? Okay, okay, all right. Darnell, what do you think? Mike Tomlin, keep that winning streak going. He's in a dominant division. Everybody's saying they better. Everybody say the Bengals are dominant. They might not win a game in the division. The way people are talking about it, you got Ravens. You got, I mean, Cleveland got some players like they might not win a game in the division. Like, what do you think?
This is like my true opinion on this. This is a push, but
no, we can't. We don't do pushes. We don't do pushes. You got to choose a side, baby.
So instead of making the playoffs, we can just say winning season. So we're saying winning season because the way you phrased the question, you said Tomlin having a winning season. I can see
above 500.
Above 500. I can see them being above 500, right? But on the other side of that, the consistency for Tomlin versus what's going on in Arizona as far as it seems like they're going through like high school issues. Like
yes,
Kyler Murray. I guess Kyler Murray is getting on the coach's nerves so much that he said, you know what, you call the plays. It's not that easy. So you see, you saw that. Cliff Kingsbury had Kyler Murray calling the plays in the fourth quarter to show him that it wasn't that easy. That sounds like something you would tell an eighth grader. It's like, you think it's that easy? You call the plays. Come on now. But yeah, if I had to put my trust in one, I'd say Pittsburgh.
I love it, man. And that's flattering. You said it's a push. That means I was thinking about it. I love it. Thank you. It makes me feel good about that one because it gets you. Now I'm gonna go to Hammer, man. What do you think, Tomlin? I mean, he's got a tough division. Huh?
No, definitely no, because Cincinnati's going to take a step back because Burrow, I mean, his appendix ruptured. He's not going to be. He's lost a lot of weight. He's not going to be as effective this year. So that's something to sleep on. Also, Cleveland's going to be really hurt because of the Deshaun Watson suspension. And if they're going to go with Brissett, good luck with that. So, no, I think definitely Tomlin. And you talk about the Cardinals are a hot mess. I mean, you look at the fact, that one argument about calling the plays, that's really childish. But also the thing, too, is that the fact that the clause was leaked about the studying, that shows you how bad an organization it is. Because the bottom line, look at Tampa Bay. Nobody knows what Tom Brady did for 11 days but Tom Brady and other people, right? It hasn't been leaked, right? It hasn't been – he could have been – they thought he was in a Masked Singer, right? And apparently went on vacation. Nobody leaked nothing. That's a well-run organization. That's an organization that, again, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Omar Khan is not a GM. Succeeded Colbert the GM. Tomlin has control of the locker room. And the knuckleheads, they're gone. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. So yeah, I trust Tomlin. Like I said, again, you look at the fact that the Ravens will be back, but I think that the Browns and the Bengals are going to take a step back, and I think they'll do well in their non-divisional schedule. I trust Tomlin. Tomlin won with Big Ben broken down. He won with Mason Rudolph. I mean, this guy won with James Conner. James Conner's a really good player, but no one thought he was going to be that good of a player. I mean, Tomlin is a tremendous coach, one of the best coaches in football, if not the best coach. Besides Belichick, obviously. And so the bottom line is that, but the Cardinals are a hot mess, man. Like I said, you got Kyler Murray and you got Kingsbury fight. You got all this mess. And again, like I said, arguing over calling plays and study room. And, why leak that? I mean, what kind of dummies are running an organization? You're going to leak that. You're going to undermine your quarterback by doing that. And you also fit the stereotype of a black quarterback. They don't study. They just go on the talent and their physical abilities. They don't understand the intricacies of the game. And you're going to hurt that brother, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting because it's like in that craziness, a team like Arizona might mess around and put some stuff together, right? It's crazy, but I think Tomlin is being freed with Ben's retirement. He's having fun, and that Pickett kid, my goodness, he picking up things quick, and Trubisky not looking bad. But what happens when you have mobility? Makes your offensive line look a little bit better, where you can get out of the way of stuff. It's been interesting to watch this, but it'll be good to watch these two scenarios play out. This next one's kind of close to my heart because I've had fun watching Hard Knocks in the Lions. Man, I think I may have seen two of the greatest speeches from a coach in NFL history. Let me come over here and play a little bit here. So this is interesting. These are two teams that people are talking about for different reasons. But will the Lions find that roar again and lead to 9 or more wins, which I think would be a huge jump for the Lions? Will Dallas win the NFC East? Let me go to Darnell because I can see a smile over here. I got to see where this is going.
The Lions have a snowball's chance in hell of winning 9 games this year. There is no way.
Win 3 games.
There's no way Lions win 5 games.
3 games. Shoot.
3
games.
I think Lions will win 9, man. I ain't going down like that.
Dallas wins this about
9 in 2 years. Yeah, you talking about 2-year period? Yeah, they'll win 9 games. Yeah.
And Dallas does
3-year period. Yeah.
And Dallas actually does have a really talented team. Tyler Smith, he's coming on. I mean, at that guard.
But they got the can't trust it coach of the year.
Yeah, but
division. You just what you said.
The Eagles might be better than them.
I'll put my money on them versus the Lions.
Okay,
that's the question here. Yeah. They got.
Okay, yeah. Because you go on it. All right, and Hammer gonna hate because he got a debacle going over there in the Bears. He's gonna try and justify what's happening.
Not a debacle, man. The Bears gonna be one of the biggest surprises in football. Watch.
Oh
we got 5th round tackle. Braxton Jones could be the best tackle in the draft. That's how well. That's how well. Larry Borum, dude, you sleep on the Bears. Sleep on the Bears. We gonna run the ball.
Y'all got one of y'all top linebackers. Like I gotta get out.
Wait a minute now.
You got your linebacker talking about he ready to get out because the way he being treated.
Get out. He ain't going. We gonna franchise him anyway. But he's not worth $20 million a year. He's not worth $20 million a year. He's
all
worth
right.
15.
So who
I'm not hating on the thing about the Lions is that they're the Lions. And Okuda's got to show. I don't know how he's doing. If he's hurt again, or I like Aaron Glenn. I like him. I think he could be a good head coach. He's a leader, but they don't have the talent right now. I mean, they don't have the talent. The quarterback problem. I mean, Penny Sewell. I mean, he was a turnstile last year. He was a matador last year. At a bullfight. So I mean, he was awful. So no, I just think that again, the Lions are Lions, and so the sad thing. I feel bad for the fans of Detroit. You have the Tigers and you have the Red Wings, and the Pistons. But the Lions. No, when your guy Matty Stafford left and got him a ring after 1 year, enough said. That does show how bogus they are. 1 year, he got a ring.
Isaiah, I guess. What you gonna say, brother?
Man, I mean, I feel bad for what I'm about to say because it's like that's the home team.
Go with your heart, man. Don't let them sway you. This is what we do at RSC.
And the way Carl just came and just dissed my Lions like that, it made me really want to defend them. Listen, I'm about to go opposite of what I just said. I was about to go. But the Lions actually do have some little good pieces. Aiden Hutchinson, they say he's looking like the real deal, like in terms of his technique, his power, his explosiveness. I like that pick. We got some other good pieces that may have gone under the radar. I don't know if you've been watching the Hard Knocks, but Amon-Ra St. Brown is another good wide receiver. I believe it came out of the 6th round.
He's a good player. He ain't under. He's balling. Dude.
Yeah. But I mean, for that's what I don't know. I forgot what round he came out of, but
he went like 5th, 6th round. His brother is a star for the Bears. He on ball.
Yeah. But I mean, for as many guys picked over him, and I just feel that it always, it starts with the little pieces. We still got Swift from a few years ago. I still feel like he needs, need just a few more years to develop. I still want to see more from Jeff Okudah. I can't really say that the Lions are going to win 9 games next year. I really can't honestly say that. I'm trying to defend them. We'll probably at most get to 6 games, or we'll get 6 wins. But as far as this argument goes, obviously we had to take the Cowboys. I think they even did. They won the division last year. The Cowboys. I'm not entirely sure, but even still, I just feel that the Lions, even though that's my home team, we sit here as Lions fans and we get sad every week when we watch them, but we don't ever stop believing. We don't ever stop. We don't never stop watching, and I guess that's kind of the beauty of it.
That's the problem. That's the problem. You do like the Cubs when we stop watching. And they sold the club, the Tribune sold to the Ricketts, then we won titles. The Fords are the biggest problem. That's the consistent problem with the Lions. Until the Fords sell the Lions, y'all ain't winning nothing.
You got a lot of pride, a lot of love for our home team.
He's gonna ball. He's gonna ball, but it's gonna be like Matt Stafford.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
He has ring someplace else after he has a nice career.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Lions might have a top 12 defense when it's all said and done. In a minute, and I think people slipping on the Lions. Now I was a little high with 9 wins, but if they got like 7 or 8, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they got some pieces there, and I'm not in the division. I mean, Green Bay looks good, but the Lions have always played Green Bay. I'm not sure. Chicago, you can say all you do. I'm not buying into that as well. Minnesota's going to be solid. We got to see. They had a coach who was afraid to drive the Ferrari. They might have a coach now who will drive the Ferrari. That was what we talked about last year. But I think the Lions they're going to come with that dog. And now, I left the Lions a long time ago, long before Dexter Bussey, long before Billy Sims. I couldn't do it no more. I had to go east. I had to go with Mean Joe Green back in the day. I had to go to Pittsburgh because I just couldn't keep doing the Lion thing. But I watched these Lions, and they kind of brought me home. I'm going to go get me a hat because I think they got something going over there. So, but I agree. I think if you were looking at it, you probably could put your bet on Dallas. Y'all probably living right on that. But, Dallas got some problems themselves. And so if I probably would have put if I probably would have put it down to about 6 wins for the Lions, this probably would have been a different discussion in a little different way. But I was trying to be a little aggressive. I think I got a little hyped after watching Hard Knocks and listening to one of them speeches. I'm like, I'm going with 9. I'm going with 9. And as y'all were talking, I'm like, this would have been better if I would have put it at about 6. I just got hyped. My fault. All right, the last scenario of this week, because we'll come back to this next week, now that y'all kind of warmed up, but I'll keep working on these scenarios. This one might be over too, but the Bengals to make it to the AFC Championship, that old thing about teams going to the Super Bowl, can they come back and make a run again? Everybody seems to be high on the Bengals, even with the quarterback going through what he's going through. Or the Packers make it to the NFC Championship. They lost their top receiver. You got Aaron Rodgers over there, cussing his receivers out, probably like he probably should. So they got to have a team meeting over there. You got to figure out what's going to happen there. But both these teams are talented. But my feeling is only one of them on one. If I had to bet, only one of them going to make it. Not both of them. And so who you think going to make it? Hammer, I'll start with you. And then go to Isaiah. We'll finish with Darnell on this one.
Definitely the Pack because the following lines, the Pack have a tremendous defense. And I think that also you look at the fact that when Devontae Adams was not known, Jordy Nelson slipped. He I think, again, the Watsons of the world, Dobbs, they're gonna Sammy Watkins will be a nice piece. Randall Cobb's a nice piece. So I think they definitely, and also I think they're gonna run the ball more this year. I think they're gonna really with Dylan and with and with Aaron Jones. So I think that definitely, and like I said again, I think that Burrow ruptured appendixes. I mean, he's lost a lot of weight, and he's had injury history as it is. So I just don't think, again, lightning not going to tear the bottle twice. They made a great run last year, get the Super Bowl, and tremendous run. But I think they'll be 9-18 this year. They'll be a mediocre team this year.
It's funny. I remember when they drafted Dylan. I'm like, I love Dylan. When he was at Boston College, and I remember people arguing because he didn't get a receiver, and I was one out here arguing like, this cat Dylan. I watched him. He bad. It's funny how people talk about Dylan now. And everybody was complaining that they didn't get a receiver, and I'm like, this kid Dylan, and he's perfect for the Green Bay. That weather, and especially that 1-2 punch. So I'm glad you brought him up, because I remember when we was talking, everybody was arguing with me about the Dylan pick. Why they? I'm like,
I thought it was a bad pick too. I thought it was a bad pick too.
If the offense they run and doing it in Green Bay, you're gonna appreciate him in October, November, December. You be like, oh, we glad we got him, because people gonna make business decisions when they try to tackle him. All right, Isaiah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree and say that the Packers will probably likely win the conference in this situation, just because they do lose Devontae Adams, but I think that Aaron Rodgers and all the other pieces that they have around them are still good enough to make it. It still will be a tough road, a lot of other good teams. But as far as the AFC goes, I feel like the Bengals overachieved a bit last year, and I don't think that they will be able to do that again, especially against other teams making some improvements. Like I said, the Raiders, the Bills. We talked about the Patriots. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to be there. So the AFC is tough. It's tough. But in this situation, I'm going to go with the Packers.
Okay. All right, Darnell.
I'm going with the Packers as well, because I think I know they lost Adams, but they're going to compensate by running the ball. They have a dynamic duo at running back. They have a really good offensive line. The defense should be elite. They just added to it again with Quay Walker. Yeah. If you remember watching him in the national championship game, he's a really talented guy, and just adding him to an already talented defense should be something special. So I'm gonna have to go with the Packers. And on the AFC side of things, I have the Bills winning it all. So I think in the AFC is just has a lot of really talented teams. So I think the Bengals might take a little step back.
Now, the Bengals added to their offensive line, right? Because they couldn't protect anybody. Joe was just tough as hell. But the Packers, I said to the NFC Championship, Packers didn't get out of couldn't get. They had a home field advantage and lost at the crib with Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting question, because even when the Packers feel like they're fully stacked, they could win the big one lately, right? But the Bengals, that second year, kind of like y'all, that's an interesting thing, because they feel like they've shored up some things. They did the right things in the free agency, right? To shore things up. The health of Burrow is a big thing. Cleveland is going to be weaker because they're not going to start with Deshaun. We don't know what the friction is going to be like with the Ravens because of the quarterback situation. They'll probably get that focus. Obviously, the Steelers are going through transition. So it feels like the Bengals have an ability to right the ship. It's going to be interesting. I was kind of surprised the way y'all took y'all positions, but I got to respect y'all. Well, thank y'all for playing with this. We will come back next week with a couple more scenarios of who do you trust. We like I'm saying, we've been talking about can't trust it. We're going to try and be positive. We're going to say, there's some people we can't trust, and we'll probably get to them. But there are some people we trust. There's some scenarios we trust, and I'm glad we try to put that positive energy back in the world. So thank y'all for coming along with me. Even though our Lions took a hit, I was hyped. I thought we have a different conversation. I'm going to go back and check my boy Campbell out again. Like I said, if y'all got to watch the episode, how episode 1 starts with his opening speech, that's felt like Friday Night Lights. I was in there like, when he got done with that speech, I felt like, I can't do nothing right now in football. I felt like I could throw on some tight stuff. I'll give you one play, coach. If they can't give you nothing else, I'm gonna give you one play. I tried, but boy, even my man Isaiah, who tried, at the end of the day, he had to turn around like a scene from The Wire and shoot his butt in the head. Like you just got, and he had to go down with the ship. I gotta work on my. If I would have been at 6, Isaiah, I think you would have had a place. I should probably consulted you and maybe had the number at 6. It might have made a little bit better argument than 9. Like 9, boy. You know, Darnell was good. He just jumped in like, I know, like Darnell just chopped it from the beginning. I was like, my goodness. So we would try and do a better job of that next week.
Yeah, it was 6. 9 was pushing just a little bit, just a little overzealous.
I did this after
We're gonna
watching.
get there though.
I did this after
Eventually,
watching him. I did this after watching Campbell had me so hyped. I was like, I'm gonna give you 9. I gave you 3 for the cheeks. You know,
it was 2-3 years. We'll be there. 9-win season.
I don't care if you have. We said 3 butt cheeks, and you know, when he said all that, I'm like, whatever that is, I want more of it. You know, it's like he doing up downs. I'm like, looking tired, talking about his wrist. I'm with it. I'm all in. Like,
yeah,
he brought me back. He got the shirt with the 313 shirt. He brought me back. I'm like, I gotta go get me some Lions gear. I know I've been away, y'all. I know I've been away. I'm gonna try and go back early for everybody else jump on this. I'm gonna try and go sneak me when I'll be in Michigan this weekend. I'm probably gonna give me some Lions gear. I'm gonna have to do it, man. Just for Campbell. I gotta do it for him, man. No one else can bring me back. After watching that, I gotta go get me something. All right, we're gonna hit the grand finale, y'all. Just some parting words for the people, y'all. Now, Hammer, you ain't been in a while now. Don't hit them with nothing in their head. Like, we're gonna try and keep this some parting words. We trying to keep this on this positive note, this vibe. We try to put something in the world right now. So y'all got a few minutes to share something y'all want to share with our listeners in the parting shots. And so I'll start with you, Isaiah. What kind of thing you want to send off our listeners with? Some party shots.
Yeah, just obviously a lot going on in the world of sports. Obviously still boxing. That's one of the things I'm always going to be focused on. But I think one of the biggest things I think we should focus on when thinking about that heavyweight fight last week. It's just the amount of pressure that these fighters and really all these athletes have to go through. When thinking about that bizarre ending that Anthony Joshua kind of had, I think it was kind of evidence of the breakdown. He wasn't really fully coherent in his mind. It was an emotional response, really. And he might have been a little bit concussed or whatever, but I think it's important to mention that the pressure that he's been through over the years. You know, he's been in some of the biggest heavyweight fights of his time. And so for him to lose against Usyk, once or twice or whatever, I feel like people as fans have to try to not put people on so much of a pedestal and to realize kind of what he has accomplished and what the type of pressure that he's gone through. And we can take that and put that into all directions of sports, where these athletes are also human. They feel the pressure of everything that leads up to these major events, and I think that's just worth mentioning.
Thank you for sharing that perspective, brothers. Thank you for sharing that. Hammer.
Yeah, I want to do a shout out to NFL. Like I said, it just gets better and better with the Amazon platform coming up, with the young talent they have, with the marketing. I mean, it's 24/7, 365 NFL. Never a dull moment. And some other sports need to look at. I mean, UFC's getting there, obviously. As far as I'm not a big fan, but I know as far as its impact. But the NFL, you have to give credit. Also, the Watson situation, they cut the best deal possible, and they had where his debut was against the team he left. So they know marketing, they know talent, they know again how to build product. They understand with women, especially. When people surprised, women really are driving again the NFL share. And like I said, what they're going to do with Sunday Ticket, probably going to Apple Plus, and they're changing the game. They're going to change. They're just changing it and making it where all generations can be able to you have some older people going to fork down that money for Amazon Prime. Don't want to, but because they want to see their game. So the bottom line is that shout out to the NFL for again being the best as far as best sport in the world, as far as entertainment and just intrigue as well as excellence.
All right, Darnell.
Yeah, wanted to talk about college football season that's coming up, man. A weekend from now, we're gonna start the best time of year. Fall college football season. This opening weekend is gonna be dynamite. Like we have Oregon versus Georgia coming on next weekend. We got Ohio State and Notre Dame. We got Cincinnati and Arkansas in there. Like, there's some really, really nice matchups that I just can't wait to go ahead and watch. So just stay tuned.
All right, and I just want to end with I had a chance to being located here in kind of southern Wisconsin near Chicago. As Hammer can respect, like the Sky winning last year was a big thing in Chicago, and I've been watching the WNBA playoffs and watching the Liberty and the Sky, and it's been as having a niece who plays college basketball, I've kind of just grown with the game. But one thing they continue to lead in terms of having a collective vision for their sport, and the way that these sisters are always keeping Brittany Griner in the fold, like the collectiveness, as Hammer talked about, the NFL might be like from a product standpoint and how to run it. I think he's amazing, but from the connection to causes and understanding like what your DNA is and how you move in addition to that, the WNBA is rising in its product development and talent and its understanding of how to support each other, even in these competitive spaces. And so we got to keep Brittany in our thoughts and prayers. And if we don't, we know that her WNBA sisters will. And so it just reminds us the power we can do with the collectiveness. So until we see y'all again on the other side, be well from all of us here at RSG. And this is One Mic. Peace.
Yes, today. Yes, today. As we start the show, this One Mic. We hail. There is a pause throughout the stadium as this man sounds like he just coughs up a lung. They're looking around. The Jumbotron shows and pans the cheerleaders, and as it goes down each cheerleader's face, each one breaks up into laughter, which at this particular time destroys half the stadium. The other half is still trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Does this guy need CPR or something? And then at that particular time, I lost it. Devon's brother. Yes, today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Show this One Mic.
Phoenix is another place. They got a great training staff. They were able to breathe life back into Shaq. And if you can do that, people talk a lot about their training staff.
Blog.
Yes, today, as we start this show, this One Mic,